Today, we're diving into the unbelievable story of Dalip Singh Rana. You probably know him as the global wrestling icon, the Great Khali. But his journey from a tiny Indian village to a worldwide superstar, well, it's a wild ride of hardship, tragedy, and in the end, just massive success. And just to give you a sense of that success, let's start with a number, $6 million. That's what the Great Khali's estimated net worth is today. It's a huge figure, right? But believe me, the story of how he got there is even more incredible.
This quote just nails it. The world he's built for himself isn't just about the money. His home, his lifestyle, it's a symbol of just how far he's come, from a life of real poverty to one of absolute prosperity.
So let's start right there, with that prosperity. We're going to take a look at the kind of royal life this giant has created, kicking things off with the incredible mansion he calls home in Punjab.
And when I say incredible, I mean it. This isn't just a house, it's practically an estate. We're talking more than 4,600 square feet, a gourmet kitchen, a massive Versailles-style patio with a pool. I mean, come on! Every little detail, from the super high ceilings down to the 3-car garage, just screams success. It's a whole other universe from the small village where he grew up.
And speaking of that garage, his car collection, it tells a story all on its own. It's such a fascinating mix. Of course, you've got the Land Rover Range Rover, that's the global superstar status right there. Then there's the big, powerful Toyota Fortuner, which totally fits his tough guy persona. But then, he also has a practical Hyundai Creta, and even a Maruti Baleno, which is a really smart, economical car that kind of shows you he hasn't forgotten where he came from.
So that brings us to the big question, right? You see all this success, this empire of luxury, and you just have to wonder, how did this happen? How does a kid from a remote village with basically nothing become all of this?
To answer that, we've got to rewind. I mean, way back. Let's go to the very beginning, to a childhood that wasn't about fame or fortune, but was all about struggle and just trying to survive. He was born Dalip Singh Rana, one of 7 kids in a family where being poor was just a part of everyday life. Long before he was ever the Great Khali, he was just a boy, taking whatever odd jobs he could find to help his family put food on the table. And you know, there was something else that always set him apart. He has a condition called acromegaly. It's a rare hormonal disorder that caused his gigantic size. And while it definitely came with its own health issues, it's also what gave him that unique, towering body that one day the entire world would not be able to ignore. His whole life took a massive turn when he was working as a security guard. A police officer from Punjab saw him. And he didn't just see a big guy, he saw his discipline, his potential, and this officer helped him get a job with the police force back in 1993, which set him on a path that would literally change everything. And that new path, well, it eventually led him to the wrestling ring. But his journey to becoming a WWE legend was not easy. Not at all. It was filled with tragedy, major setbacks, and a whole lot of grit. So his road to the WWE was a global one. He started in the US in 2000, but his career was almost completely derailed by a terrible tragedy in 2001. After that really tough time, he went to Japan to sharpen his skills. And then, finally, in 2006, he made history. He signed with WWE, the first Indian-born wrestler ever to do it. And his debut? Oh my gosh, what a debut. He didn't just walk out and wave, no way. He stormed the ring and laid out one of the most iconic, most feared wrestlers ever, The Undertaker. For a global audience, seeing an Indian wrestler presented as an absolute unstoppable monster, that was a total game changer. In that one moment, the Great Khali had arrived. From there, his rise was just meteoric. But what happened after he got to the top of the mountain is maybe the most surprising part of his entire story. How he evolved from this terrifying villain into, well, something completely different. His dominance was just undeniable. He beat legends like The Undertaker and Rey Mysterio. And then, in 2007, he won a 20-man battle royal to become the world heavyweight champion. This was a huge, historic moment, solidifying his spot as a true global force in wrestling. But then, after reaching the absolute peak as this dominant monster, Khali did something nobody saw coming. He totally reinvented himself. The guy who used to terrorize legends suddenly became a huge fan favorite, starring in the hilarious Khali Kiss Cam and leaning into these great comedic roles. This pivot just showed how versatile he was, and honestly, it won him a whole new army of fans. But his story doesn't end when his full-time WWE career did. Not even close. Dalip Singh Rana, the man behind the character, has gone on to build an even bigger legacy completely outside of the wrestling ring.
And this legacy is so diverse. In 2015, he started his own wrestling school in India to train the next generation. He became a star in both Hollywood and Bollywood. He became a naturalized US citizen, and most recently, he's even gotten into politics in India. This is a guy who is always evolving.
His on-screen career alone is incredible. He was the runner-up on India's version of Big Brother. He held his own in comedies with huge stars like Adam Sandler and Steve Carell, and he's popped up in everything from Disney shows to Indian action movies. His appeal really crosses all borders and genres. It's amazing.
And then in 2021, his entire journey really came full circle. He received wrestling's highest honor. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. It was the ultimate stamp of approval, cementing his status not just as a champion, but as a true pioneer of the sport.
Which kind of leaves us with this one last thought. When you look at his whole life, from that small village to the championship belt, and now to his own wrestling school, what's the true measure of his legacy? Is it the titles he won in the ring? Or is it the new paths that he created for a whole generation of Indian talent to follow in his footsteps?